questions for you. How do you feel the Olympics has had an impact on Britain?
I think the Olympics, especially in terms of cycling, it's gone through the roof, and it's really helped to bring cycling more into the mainstream and into the general public psyche. And obviously off the back of the recent Olympics being in the UK, London Games, and the whole team across the board pretty much doing well has really kind of highlighted sport in general, activity, but cycling probably obviously one of the higher profile sports in that, and also having so many top-end athletes in cycling, not just at the Olympics but Tour de France obviously with Bradley Wiggins. So yeah, cycling is massive now in the UK, and it's one of the things that we've seen in the cycle show as well. It's so busy, and yeah, it's great. It's a great moment for cycling in the UK especially.
Do you think there's anything that they could make better improvements for cyclists within the UK?
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely more can be done with the infrastructure of commuting, because there's so many more people who do commute. Obviously the British weather isn't ideal for that, but then when you look at Denmark, Belgium, they don't have particularly great winters either, but they have a massive infrastructure for cycling, cycle paths, and I think cyclists probably need to help themselves a bit more as well, just in general with the way that we are on the roads, the way that we act when we're on our bikes. But we also need a bit more, there's a lot more give and take needs to happen, and I think it's happening partly because of the kind of the elevation of cycling in the UK, and there is seems to be a lot more understanding.
So on that note, with regards to cycle insurance, what would you recommend to people about insurance?
Well, for me, one of the biggest arguments that I would have ever had with motorists on the bike, if it ever happened, was you don't pay tax, you're not insured. And so no, we don't have to pay tax, it's not a legal obligation for a cyclist, but insurance is something that is massively important, even if it takes away kind of part of that in the psyche of a motorist. It gives them one less excuse to be against a bike rider, and I think we owe it to ourselves to be out there and be insured just for any eventuality. And that is why we do have insurance, is because you never know what's around the corner, literally on a push bike especially.
Yeah. How have you coped with the publicity?
Publicity's been great the last 12 months. I retired from cycling a year ago now, and I've been straight into work in the media, obviously with Radio 5 Live, doing a lot with that, the cycle show on ITV4, and the moment has been good for me to have crossed from being an athlete to actually in the industry and being able to talk about the athletes who who I've raced with, and again, there's so much more opportunities in that respect, which there weren't 4 or 5 years ago. There wasn't. And if I'd have continued riding a bike, which I could have done for another 2 or 3 years quite possibly, then opportunities would have passed me by, I think. So it's been good, I enjoy it.
Have you found that you've been able to mentor or give advice to any of the other Olympics?
Yeah, having been an athlete for so long and done a lot of it off my own back, and then working with the British squad as it is now, and it's getting bigger and better all the time. I've learnt a lot over the years, and I do a lot of work. I mean, Mark Cavendish I do an awful lot of work with, which is certainly, I like to think that I've helped him quite a lot along the way. Won his first world title back in 2005 was with myself, so have a real strong affinity with Mark. And yeah, I think looking at a lot of the younger riders, certainly like to think that I've helped them, some of them in the way that they go about their business. And again, it's one of the things that I do enjoy. A bit of coaching here and there, and it's just for someone who's been around so long, it would be a crying shame, I think, to just walk away from cycling and
It's
not be
always
able
good to
to
share your
impart,
knowledge.
yeah, impart that and help, you know, because I've learnt a lot through the years making mistakes, and it's just giving them a bit of a shortcut to, you know, make less mistakes.
Yeah.
And just make sure that they go about it in their own way, but yeah, do it the right way.
And what's your plans for the future?
I don't like to make plans.
Oh,
I never like to make
I like that
plans.
answer.
Yeah, I don't know. At the moment, I've got lots of things on the go with my coaching and me looking after Mark Cavendish, working with yourselves, Velosure, with Onyx Bikes, and a lot of the media stuff. As I said, there's a lot more of the cycling events that are being covered, so there's a lot more opportunity in that way. But yeah, I don't have a job, but I have lots of work, which is the way I like it. It's good fun, and I'm unemployable anywhere else. So it's good to be able to stay in and around cycling, but just in different aspects of it. Yeah, it's good.
Oh, great. Well, thanks very much for talking to us.
Pleasure.